When we talk about kidney health, the rules have always felt, well, a little strict, maybe even confusing. But here's the good news. The science is changing. In this explainer, we're going to dive into a totally new way of thinking about how to protect your kidneys. We're moving past those old rigid restrictions and into a world of smarter, more personalized strategies that could really change the game.
So let's start with the million-dollar question, right? We're all told, eat your fruits and veggies. They're good for you. But if you're someone managing chronic kidney disease, or CKD, those exact same healthy foods can come with a huge warning sign. And it's all because of one little nutrient, potassium. So what is the real deal here? And that leads us straight into what you could call the potassium paradox. It's this crazy, confusing situation where one of the healthiest things you can eat, plants, is often the first thing put on the no-fly list for people who, honestly, could benefit from them the most. Let's unpack why this is even a thing.
Okay, so here's the dilemma laid out side by side. On the one hand, the science is pretty solid. Plant-based diets are awesome. They're loaded with fiber and alkali, which helps lower blood pressure and can actually slow down kidney disease. But then you have the standard medical advice for anyone with advanced CKD, and it's basically watch out for high potassium foods, which are, you guessed it, a ton of fruits and veggies. This is to avoid something called hyperkalemia, which is a dangerous spike of potassium in your blood.
And if you think you can just look to the official guidelines for a clear answer, well, think again. It's kind of all over the map. There is absolutely no consensus. You can see here, some organizations recommend different amounts based on the stage of the disease. Others say go really low. And then you have the Italian Society of Nephrology, which in 2019 said, hey, maybe don't restrict at all unless potassium levels are already high. The big takeaway here, the science is still evolving.
So where does that leave us? It means we need a whole new playbook, one that's way smarter and more personalized than just saying no to a bunch of foods. And it all starts with just rethinking the problem. This quote from a recent review really just hits the nail on the head. Look at those keywords: reevaluated, individualized, and gradually introduced. This isn't about throwing out the rulebook, it's about writing a new one that's custom fit for each person instead of a one-size-fits-all approach that clearly isn't working for everyone.
And part of this new playbook is figuring out where the real danger is hiding. Because it turns out not all potassium is the same. The potassium you get from, say, a sweet potato is wrapped up in fiber, so your body absorbs it slowly. But the potassium added to processed foods, that's often a chemical salt, like potassium chloride, and it's almost completely absorbed, hitting your system like a freight train. It's hidden in stuff like preserved meats, powdered gravy, even some cheeses, and it can triple your potassium intake without you even realizing it.
Now, the other really cool part of this new playbook is that it gives you the power to take control. There are actually cooking methods that can make those healthy, high-potassium foods safer to eat. It's a simple process. You peel and chop them up, soak them for a few hours, and then boil them in fresh water. What happens is, a lot of the potassium actually leaches out into the water, which you just pour down the drain. This one trick could open up your diet to so many healthy foods you thought were off-limits.
Okay, so we've talked about managing what you eat, which is super important. But what if we could also protect our kidneys from the inside out? Let's switch gears and look at a more proactive defense strategy, one that fights damage at the microscopic level. Think of it as fighting cellular rust. This cellular rust has a fancy scientific name, oxidative stress. But the idea is pretty simple. You have these unstable little molecules called free radicals that are just bouncing around in your body, wreaking havoc on your cells, your proteins, your DNA, kind of like how oxygen and water cause rust on metal. And in your kidneys, this slow, steady damage is a major reason why the disease gets worse over time. So what can we do about it?
Well, this is where things get interesting. Researchers are looking at compounds found in nature for answers, and one of the most promising is green tea. See, it's absolutely packed with powerful antioxidants called polyphenols, and you can think of these polyphenols as a sort of cellular police force that goes around neutralizing those bad guy free radicals before they can cause any real trouble. So how does this cellular police force actually work? This table gives us a really cool clue. Okay, so researchers figured out how to make a really damaging compound in the kidneys using two main ingredients. When they use drugs to block or clean up those ingredients, you can see their levels dropped way down. That's what the bold numbers show. But here's the wild part. When they used green tea polyphenols, the ingredient level stayed pretty much the same. What does that tell us? It suggests the green tea isn't stopping the ingredients from being made. It's waiting. And then it swoops in at the very end to neutralize the final super damaging compound itself. It's like a bomb squad defusing the bomb, not arresting the guys who built it.
All right, so let's tie all this together. We've talked about a smarter way to handle your diet and a proactive way to defend your cells. So what's the big picture takeaway for your kidney health?
Really, the future of kidney health is all about being personalized. It means your needs come before some blanket rule. It's about understanding that food context is everything. The potassium in a spinach leaf is not the same as the potassium chloride in a preservative. It's about using proactive protection from things like natural compounds and using smart cooking techniques to give yourself more healthy choices, not fewer.
Which leaves us with this final thought. As the science keeps moving forward, it really seems like we're heading for a future that's not about restriction. Instead, it's about empowerment, using personalized nutrition and a deeper understanding of food and our bodies to truly support our kidney health.